Hey guys, here's another review. This time I'll be reviewing the RCF Kamen Geats Magnum Boost set from Kamen Geats. This is the first set in this year's gimmick figure line, the Revolve Change Figure series, which allows the figures to create various forms as well as flip those forms around via Revolve On. This set includes the Magnum body, Boost body, Geats mask, Geats scarf, and Magnum Shooter 40X. So, let's get started. So, the first thing we need to do is assemble the figure. Now you might be wondering to yourself, how are we going to do that with what looks to be two upper bodies? But that's the trick to this figure series, where either of them can become both an upper body or a lower body. So, if we're starting with Magnum Boost, we'll be using Magnum as the upper half and Boost as the lower half. So with Magnum, there isn't any real prep we need to do. But for Boost, that's where things get interesting. So to start, I'm going to take the head here and flip it back like this. Take the arms and move them down to here, where will become the legs. We'll take the chest armor and rotate it out to the sides. We'll take these parts and rotate them outwards like that, and fold up the hands to become the feet. Then we have our lower half. So, then we come to the two halves, and you can see they have this joint that lets them slide together at the belt. And we're going to take the head and fold it underneath like this. Attach it to the back, like that. Then, take the mask, and, making use of the shape of the head as well as this little notch here, we'll place it on and plug it in until it's secure in place. And finally, we'll take the scarf, and using this notch here, plug it into the back. And here we have Kamen Geats Magnum Boost form. So let's take a look. As you can see, the two parts have now joined together to make one cohesive figure. Starting from top, you can see that they did cleverly make the eyes using a couple of clear plastic pieces, so that the color of whatever it is on the head can shine through. Those have the unique Geats mouthpiece here for Magnum form, as well as the other Geats features, such as the ears, and just the general white and red color scheme. Got the chest here, which has a kind of spiritual Magatama design on it. The shoulders, which also in some way resemble Kitsune or Inari statues. They're basically fox spirits. Got some nice detail for the body, showing the two halves, as well as good detailing for the belt. And while mostly just pieces of white and red plastic, you can see there also is some gold paint for the ring, which is nice. Got the details on the Magnum body, and like in the show, you actually flip out these little arm guns, which are a little bit tricky to do. I'm not going to be a liar of here. Yeah, it is a little tricky because there doesn't seem to be a good grabbing point. Actually, I might be doing this wrong. Oh yeah, it's actually here. You can see it's got a little guns that fall down here and here. So we got that going on. Then going down to the boost legs, and see some nice red and black details. Got the knee pads here. Also have these tailpipe boosters, which can be rotated separately from the rest of the leg. Also have the scarf on the back, and I will say that even though this sticks out a bit, this is a good way of hiding the other head. Articulation-wise, it's pretty interesting. You have a ball joint at the head, although you want to be careful not to pop off the mask like that. It is slightly hindered by the collar. And for the arms, they can rotate around 360 degrees. Shoulder pads are able to move independently from the shoulders. A bicep swivel. Nice double jointed elbow. And a ball jointed wrist. Though it's also limited by the fact that this is kind of a heel joint as well, or an ankle joint. They did actually engineer it so that despite the fact that these are two bodies joined together, you do get a waist rotation, which is something that I wish they'd done with a certain previous rider series, or figure series rather. Then you have the legs which go forward, not so much back. They do go in and out. You have some thigh rotation. Double joint knees, and ball joint ankle. Though it is awkward is that you have an extra joint that you don't really want to be making use of, which is the fact that you have what will be the other elbow joint. But if you did that, you'd basically be breaking his shin. Just gotta remember that the knee is here, and not so much here. In addition, he also includes the Magnum Shooter 40X. This is a single piece colored in all white, but what's significant about is that this can actually convert from handgun mode to rifle mode. This is significant because for the past several years, whenever there's a rider who has a weapon that has multiple modes, instead of having a piece that'll convert between the two different modes, they'll just have a separate piece for each different weapon. So this saves on plastic costs and actually gives you a little bit of a gimmick that matches the gimmick of the toy in the show. So, for it, you can either plug it into the hand like that, and then you can aim and shoot it. That actually helps to angle the wrist, let them have it point forward, which is quite nice. Or similar to what I showed in my review of it, or rather my review of the holders, the raised buckle holders, you can actually peg it onto the side for storage purposes. So, if you don't want to have them holding the gun, you can actually just have it holstered there, which is a nice touch. But now we've taken a look at Magnum Boost form, we can now do a Revolve on. So, for Revolve on, the first thing we want to do is remove the mask and the scarf. Then we're going to take the head assembly and detach it from the back. And you can see that both heads are actually attached together by this bar. So, then we're going to want to take the arms, move them upwards like this. And then basically make them do a cartwheel, like that. So then we will rotate these pieces outwards. Strain these out. Convert these into feet. Then, for the upper half, rotate these pieces back in, trying to make sure that they're properly aligned in the center. Bring down the legs to become the arms. Rotate the forearms. Convert the feet to hands. Then, fold in this head and fold out this head. Come around to the back, where we'll connect it in the back. And I have in place, because there are a couple of notches on the back that they'll fit into. Like that. And then we'll place on the mask and the scarf. And here we have Kamen Geats Boost Magnum form. So with this, as you can see, it has basically flipped the torsos around, while keeping some details the same. So we still have the same mask as before, but now we have yellow eyes, as well as this new mouthpiece, which resembles an engine. So it keeps the scarf on the back. We have the new torso, with the chest piece, which looks like an engine block. Have the boosters now on the forearms, as well as the knee pads becoming the shoulder pads. Then you have the legs, which has a lot more white down the middle, rather than having it spread out. And it does look pretty well armored. And for the most part, the articulation really does stay the same. It doesn't have as big of shoulder pads, so you have a bit more freedom of movement. And there is actually this joint here, where you can move the shoulder up and down, which didn't really show off that well in the other form, but is there. So let's keep it the waist joint. So we'll have the same articulation here. But in this case, the joint you want to be careful of is actually the fact that with this, this was previously the elbow joint. So you want to make sure that stays straight so that you can properly make use of the knee joint, which is here. Unlike before, you can have the Magnum Shooter 40X. It holster on the side. Or wielded it in hand. And here's also what it looks like when he's holding it in rifle mode. The last thing I want to make note of is the size of the figure. On the left we have the Revised Remix figure, Kamen Revi, and on the right we have the Ball Change Rider Kamen Build Rabbit Tank form. As you can see, we have now gone back to what used to be the standard size for Rider action figures, which we haven't had since Build, which is a very interesting thing considering just how long they had kept this going. But with the new shift to what seems to be going back to gimmicks, as well as seemingly releasing fewer figures than they used to, it seems that Bandai is now willing to go back to this new, or this previous size figure, which is nice for people who like that size figure. Unfortunately, it does throw off consistency with a lot of the figures we've had for the past several years. So take that as you will, but that's just something I wanted to let you guys know getting into this. And there we go. So overall, engineering-wise, this is one of the most impressive figures I've seen in years. The fact that they put in so many joints to allow for the Revolve on transformation between the two different forms, and still maintain such a high level of articulation, is honestly quite amazing to me, including even having a waist joint, which you would think it wouldn't have with the way they designed this, but it manages to be there, and it manages to stay consistent with the way the bodies are attached. There's definitely a lot of good detail here, a lot of nice paints on it, a lot of use of plastic in place of paint. However, what I will say is that where it shines in terms of its engineering and its articulation, it is slightly hindered in the aesthetics department. There are definitely a couple of awkward spots with this figure, especially notable in how you can see kind of some of where the joints are for the other half, especially in how you can see weird cuts in the chest where there would be the hip joints. And definitely I think one of the biggest drawbacks of this is the whole hands becoming feet and feet becoming hands thing. Because in my opinion, if you really take a look at them, the hands look like feet and the feet look like hands. So that's an area where I think they could have done better, but I also understand that they were really trying to kind of make this as cohesive of a figure as possible without having to remove too many parts or having to swap out too many parts. However, they do make use of a little bit of it in some smart places, like making use of being able to swap the mask and scarf in two modes. And there are also points on the figures that allow for other parts to be swapped for different riders. So on the whole, this is definitely a figure I can actually recommend, because you really are getting a lot of bang for your buck. You're getting a well-articulated figure with a good gimmick that looks, for the most part good, and it does pose well. Not to mention there will be other releases, so you can get other forms. So definitely worth looking into if you're looking for a nice form-changing Geats figure. Next time I'll be reviewing the Deluxe Zombie Breaker. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you're new and would like to see more, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. And for now, this is KR50, riding off.